I always wondered what happened to Josh Hartnett. See, I'm a millennial, so I grew up watching the guy in everything from Black Hawk Down to Pearl Harbor and my personal favorite, The Faculty. I've actually read there might be a remake of that film, and for the love of all that is holy, just leave it the hell alone. It's perfect just the way it is.
Why are you the way that you are? Honestly, every time I try to do something fun or exciting, you make it not that way.
Anyway, after the film August back in 2008, it seemed Hartnett had left the big screen for good, choosing to only star in small indie films and trading in his big city life in LA for quieter living in England. I gotta say, I don't blame the guy. Have you seen what Hollywood does to people nowadays? I mean, look at what happened to Amanda Bynes. Bless her heart, Hollywood just ruins people. Imagine my shock. Well, Hartnett returned to big-time American cinema last year in Trap, a run-of-the-mill M. Night Shyamalan thriller that was received just like a run-of-the-mill M. Night Shyamalan thriller should be. Spoiler alert, fucking sucked. But then what do you know? There I was at the theater, slowly descending into despair and alcoholism from all the terrible films that plagued the beginning of this year, when I saw Hartnett flash up on screen in a trailer for Fight or Flight. The question is, does it help his career resurgence, or is it going to add another obstacle alongside Trap? Fight or Flight? Let's talk about it.
Say what again? Say what again? Say what again? Say what again?
I gotta say, this week was a weird one, Toller team. From a major disappointment with Clown in a Cornfield to wanting to scorch my eye holes with a soldering iron thanks to Shadow Force, my expectations were tempered when walking into Fight or Flight. And what do you know? I was actually surprised at what I saw on screen. My week was saved. So you know what? Let's get into why that was. Spoiler free, of course.
Whoop. Here I come. Oh, here I come. Oh.
So, Fight or Flight is pretty simple to its core, and to be honest, we've seen this kind of film before. You've got Josh Hartnett, who plays the part of Lucas Reyes, a Secret Service agent that fell from grace in a previous mission, choosing to side with his own morals and ethics instead of what he was tasked to do. This leads to him being on the run from the United States, living in the slums of Bangkok until he receives a phone call from an old government fling, offering to give him his life back if he does one simple thing. Board a flight, capture a known terrorist by the name of Ghost, and hand them over to the United States. Reluctantly, Lucas boards the flight, and he finds out things aren't as simple as they seem. See, a bounty has been placed on not only Ghost, but himself, leading some of the worst underworld criminals and gangs to his location and boarding the same flight. So now it's up to Lucas to protect the asset he was sent in to capture, but also himself, over 10,000 feet in the air. That's it. That's the plot of this film. Simple enough.
You had my curiosity, but now you have my attention.
Well, Fight or Flight isn't anything too special. As a matter of fact, like I said, we've seen this film before, many, many times. But in a day and age of senseless remakes and typical Hollywood agenda pushing, films like Fight or Flight that pay homage to the American action films of old actually come across as kind of refreshing and innovative. This film ramps the ridiculous factor up to 100, having Lucas take enough physical damage to land him in a hospital for months. Yep, he always seems to get up. May it be his tolerance for pain, his borderline immunity to certain poisons, or for fuck's sake, his accidental usage of frog venom.
What? What the fuck?
Yes, that is a real thing that happens in this movie. He accidentally takes frog venom, thinking it's something else, and proceeds to trip the hell out for the next 10 minutes, all the while tearing through a crowd of criminals with a rock climbing axe. If that sounds ridiculous, that's because it is, and my god, is it fun to watch. Not everything has to make sense, you see. Sometimes it's perfectly suitable to turn your brain off, watch the pretty colors, and just have a happy.
You're goddamn right.
My biggest praise, obviously, is Hartnett himself. Not just because I'm a big fan of the guy, but because, fuck me, he did all of his own stunts in this film, which when you're staring down the barrel of 50, is no easy feat. Yes, Hartnett is 46, so if you're not feeling old yet, I hope that did the job. Anyway, when I'm watching action films like these, I have a keen eye when fight scenes and big spectacles go down. I'm always looking for that evasive stunt person who can typically only be seen in a frame or two thanks to editing, and are the unsung heroes, taking the damage and effects most prissy actors are afraid to. And what do you know, there wasn't a stunt person in sight, which encouraged me to look into the production. And holy hell, come to find out, Hartnett did 100% of his own fights and stunts. So much so, he's talked extensively about the pain and bruising that came with the production. Bravo, my man, bravo. There's one thing action film fans respect, it's an actor that does his own stunts. Speaking of the stunts, the fights and the big action set pieces, there's plenty here to talk about. Lucas has everything and everyone thrown at him, from Middle Eastern assassins to Chinese triads to Italian mobsters, and one of the most feared opponents of all, a nerdy white guy with a knife hidden in his clarinet.
What the fuck?
Again, yes, that is a real thing that happens in this film, and it's fucking awesome. For the most part, things are done practically, with over-the-top blood effects, body parts flying all over the plane, but I did notice some CGI towards the tail end of the film. It doesn't take away from the scene like CGI typically does, but it's noticeable just the same. Fights and kills happen in the most ridiculous of ways, from a gun that was snuck on board, the rock climbing axe I talked about before, snack trays, laptops, there's even a sizable chainsaw sequence in here, someone gets shot in the eye with a flare gun. Fight or flight, it just it just takes off in some crazy directions, resulting in ridiculous, yet somehow still believable, combat all crammed into the tiny aisles of an international flight.
Getting way closer than I'd like to be.
I do have one criticism of the film, and it's the dumber than fuck pseudo-espionage plot that runs throughout it. See, the old fling Lucas is supposed to hand Ghost over to, Catherine Brunt, who's played by Katie Sackhoff, there's a certain twist surrounding her story and character, and it's just, well, it's fucking stupid. I feel like the film plays a little too much into that at times, trying to get us to have that oh moment, when in all actuality, most of us aren't there for that. We're just there to see people get their asses kicked, and luckily enough, there's enough asses being kicked that the unnecessary plot elements don't really matter that much.
Hell yeah! Hey, come on, baby! Come on! Yes! Come on! Ah!
Simply put and to the point, this begs the question, we happy?
We happy?
Yeah, we happy.
Oh, I'm a sucker for stupid, fun action films, and Fight or Flight delivers exactly that. From Hartnett's performance to his own stunt work, the over-the-top maniacal kills and fight scenes, it was all just wholesome American box office entertainment. Pure cinema. Well, minus the stupid-ass narrative at times, but who cares? Anyway, I appreciate y'all for checking out my review. I'll talk to y'all later.